The sun hung low over the suburban sprawl of Willow Creek, casting long shadows across manicured lawns and cul-de-sacs. It was a Saturday afternoon, the kind where kids rode bikes in circles and neighbors waved from porches. But at the intersection of Maple Drive and Oak Lane, a scene was unfolding that would ripple through the lives of everyone involved for years to come. The incident, Claire and Ethan Caldwell were the kind of couple who believed the world owed them something. Claire, 34, was a former beauty pageant runner-up turned lifestyle influencer with 12,000 Instagram followers. Ethan, 36, was a mid-level executive at a tech startup, perpetually chasing the next promotion. They lived in a 4-bedroom house they could barely afford, drove a leased BMW, and never missed a chance to flaunt their perceived status. That afternoon, they were late for a wine tasting at a vineyard 40 miles away. Claire was in the passenger seat, scrolling through her phone, while Ethan gripped the wheel, his jaw tight. The speedometer crept past 45 in a 30-mph zone. Neither noticed the police cruiser parked under a sycamore tree until its lights flashed red and blue. "Great," Ethan muttered, pulling over. "This is all we need." Claire rolled her eyes. "Just charm him, Ethan. You're good at that." Officer Daniel Martinez, a 10-year veteran of the Willow Creek Police Department, approached the driver's side. He was calm, professional, his notepad already in hand. "Afternoon, sir. Do you know why I pulled you over?" Ethan forced a smile, the kind he used on clients. "No idea, officer. Just heading to an event." "You were doing 47 in a 30, Martinez said. "Can I see your license and registration?" Ethan's smile faded. 47, come on, that's barely speeding. This road's empty. Martinez's expression didn't change. "License and registration, please." Claire leaned over, her voice sharp. "This is ridiculous. We're not criminals. You're wasting our time." Martinez glanced at her. "Ma'am, I'm just doing my job. It'll go faster if you cooperate." Ethan handed over the documents, but not without a sigh. "Look, we're late for something important. Can you just give us a warning?" Martinez stepped back to his cruiser to run the information. Claire turned to Ethan. "You're letting him walk all over you. Do something. He's just a..." "Cop Claire, what do you want me to do? Bribe him?" When Martinez returned, he held a citation. "I'm issuing you a ticket for speeding. Sign here to acknowledge receipt. It's not an admission of guilt." Ethan snatched the ticket. "This is a joke. You're seriously hitting me with a fine for going 17 over? Don't you have real crimes to deal with?" "Sir, speeding is a safety issue," Martinez said. "You can contest it in court if you disagree." Claire unbuckled her seatbelt, leaning out the window. "You're power tripping, aren't you? Bet you love ruining people's days." Martinez's jaw tightened, but he stayed composed. "Ma'am, I need you to stay seated and calm down." "Don't tell me to calm down," Claire snapped. "We pay taxes. You work for us." Ethan, emboldened by Claire's outburst, tossed the ticket onto the dashboard. "You know what? I'm not signing this. It's BS." Martinez's tone hardened. "Refusing to sign doesn't void the citation. It just means I'll have to take you to the station." Ethan laughed, a nervous edge to it. "Arrest me for a speeding ticket. Good luck explaining that to your boss." "Step out of the vehicle, sir," Martinez said, his hand resting on his radio. Claire's voice rose. "You can't do this. We know our rights." What followed was a blur of bad decisions. Ethan, fueled by pride, got out but stood too close. To Martinez, pointing a finger, Claire started recording on her phone, narrating like it was a live stream. "This cop's abusing his power. Share this, everyone." Martinez, trained to de-escalate, gave clear commands. "Sir, step back. Ma'am, put the phone down and stay in the car." Neither complied. Ethan shouted about lawsuits. Claire called, "Martinez a nobody." When Ethan pushed past Martinez to grab the ticket from the dashboard, the officer grabbed his arm. Ethan yanked away, and Claire screamed, "Assault! He's assaulting my husband!" In seconds, backup arrived. Ethan was handcuffed for resisting. Claire was detained for disorderly conduct after lunging at an officer trying to confiscate her phone. The BMW was towed, and the Caldwells were driven to the station, their wine tasting forgotten. The fallout at the station, reality hit. Ethan's cuffs were cold, his bravado gone. Claire, separated in a holding cell, cried, mascara streaking her face. They were processed, fingerprinted, and released on bail by midnight, but the damage was done. The local news picked up the story. Couple's confrontation with cop goes viral. read the headline. Claire's video, posted before her phone was taken, had 50,000 views by morning. Comments were brutal. Entitled Karens get what they deserve, should have just taken the ticket. A few defended them, citing police overreach, but the court of public opinion had ruled. Ethan's employer, sensitive to bad PR, put him on leave. Claire's influencer gigs, mostly sponsored posts for boutique clothing brands, dried up. Their social circle shrank. Friends stopped inviting them to dinners. The Caldwells felt like pariahs. In court, their lawyer argued the arrest was excessive. But the bodycam footage told a clear story. Ethan's refusal to comply, Claire's belligerence, and their escalation of a routine stop. Ethan pleaded guilty to resisting arrest, a misdemeanor, and paid a $1,000 fine. Claire's disorderly conduct charge was dropped, but the humiliation lingered. The long-term consequences. Year 1. Denial and defiance. The Caldwells refused to accept. Blame. They filed a civil suit against the police department, alleging wrongful arrest and emotional distress. Ethan spent hours on Reddit, venting about corrupt cops. Claire tried to spin the incident into a comeback, posting about standing up to injustice. Her followers, now down to 8,000, weren't buying it. Their marriage strained under the weight of resentment. Ethan blamed Claire for egging him on. Claire accused Ethan of folding too easily. Bills piled up, legal fees, the towed car, the speeding. Fine they'd ignored. Ethan's leave turned into a layoff when his company downsized. He took a lower-paying job at a smaller firm. His ego bruised. Claire's influencer dreams fizzled. She got a part-time job at a boutique, but her manager overheard customers whispering about that viral couple. She quit after 3 months, retreating to their house where she doom-scrolled X, searching for validation. The civil suit dragged on, draining their savings. Their lawyer warned the case was weak, but they pushed forward, convinced they'd win. By the end of the year, they'd spent $20,000 with nothing to show for it. Year 2, fractures. Deep in the lawsuit collapsed when a judge dismissed it, citing clear evidence of their non-compliance. The Caldwells were ordered to pay the city's legal fees, $15,000. They remortgaged their house to cover it, pushing their finances to the brink. Ethan's new job was a grind. His co-workers knew about the arrest. Whispers followed him in the break room. He drank more, staying out late at bars. Claire noticed but didn't care enough to confront him. She'd started therapy, paid for with a credit card, but stopped. After 6 sessions, claiming it was pointless. Their neighbors, once friendly, kept their distance. The Caldwells' lawn grew patchy, their BMW replaced by a used Honda. Claire stopped posting online, her accounts dormant. Ethan deleted his Reddit profile after a heated argument with a stranger who called him Speedy Macarist. The incident faded from public memory, overtaken by newer scandals. But for the Caldwells, it was a wound that wouldn't heal. They argued over small things, dishes, bills, whose fault it was. Divorce loomed, but neither could afford it. Year 5. A reckoning. By 2030, the Caldwells were shadows of their former selves. Ethan, now 41, had been passed over for promotions twice. His drinking had cost him his second job. He was working as a freelance consultant, barely scraping by. Claire, 39, had reinvented herself as a virtual assistant, working from home for clients who didn't know her past. They stayed together out of inertia, their marriage a hollow shell. The house was sold to pay debts, and they moved to a cramped apartment on the edge of town. Willow Creek, once their dream suburb, felt like a prison. They avoided Maple Drive, where the stop had happened, like it was haunted. One evening, Claire found the old video on an external hard drive. She watched it, wincing at her younger self's shrill voice. For the first time, she saw Martinez's restraint, the way he'd tried to keep things civil. She showed it to Ethan, who shrugged. Doesn't change anything, but it did. Claire started attending AA meetings with Ethan, not for drinking, but for accountability. She reached out to a local community college, enrolling in a communications course. Ethan, spurred by her effort, cut back on alcohol and started jogging. They began couples therapy, a last-ditch attempt to save their marriage. The therapist asked them to write letters to Officer Martinez, not to send, but to process their anger. Claire's letter was long, admitting her arrogance. Ethan's was shorter, but he wrote, I was an idiot who thought I was untouchable. They cried, reading them aloud, a crack in their armor. Year 10. Redemption and Reflection. By 2035, the Caldwells had clawed their way back to stability. Ethan, now 46, had built a modest consulting business, specializing in tech startups. He volunteered at a community legal aid clinic, helping others navigate minor charges. Claire, 44, had earned an associate's degree and worked as a communications coordinator for a non-profit. Her Instagram was private now, with 200 followers, mostly family.